Chris, what is our first main topic today?
Our first topic comes from Johnny Shalev. Hey, John and gang, hope all is well. Well, it seems like the streaming wars have claimed their first major victim. According to several outlets, Netflix has reported a 200,000 subscriber loss in the first quarter of 2022. It seems like they're thinking about offering a lower price tier with ads, amongst other things. What do you think they will do? What should they do? And do you think other companies will pay more attention to retention? Thanks, and don't have a good day. Have a great day.
Oh, thank you, free guy. All right. Yes. This was shocking. We were sitting around last night or yesterday afternoon, I should say, and the news headline kind of came across that Netflix's stock crashed. Like at first I heard it was by 25%. Wow. And then I think it crashed as much as 27%. It just dropped like a rock as a result of, I believe it was an earnings call where they reported that the earnings were much lower than they were anticipating. And that while they had projected that they would gain 2.5 million new subscribers in the quarter, instead of gaining 2.5 million subscribers, they lost 200,000 subscribers.
Yikes.
And now there are a number of factors involved with that, and we'll discuss that as we go. But for now, this comes to us from the folks over at Variety who write the following. Netflix shares plummeted to their lowest point since December of 2018 as investors reacted to the streamer's first subscriber loss in more than a decade, bringing years of booming growth to a screeching halt. The streaming service previously forecasted 2.5 million paid net adds in quarter one, while Wall Street analysis expected Netflix to add 2.8 million new subscribers worldwide in the first quarter versus 3.98 million subscribers the year earlier in the same period, according to FactSheet. Netflix lost 200,000 subscribers in quarter one overall and expects to lose another 2 million in the current second quarter, the streamer said in its first quarter 2022 earnings release on Tuesday. All right. A couple of interesting numbers here within these interesting numbers. 200,000 overall loss. Okay, that's obviously a huge thing. But there are some territories where they actually gain subscribers. They had gains in many different areas. The two areas of their biggest losses, though. Number one, not surprisingly, Russia, where they pulled the plug on a bunch of the services and they lost apparently 700,000 subscribers there. Number two, the US, where they lost apparently reportedly over 600,000 subscribers in the US. So now you could say if it wasn't for the whole Russia situation and what's going on over there and them pulling the plug and whatnot, that they would have gained subscribers. Yes, but even if the Russian thing hadn't happened and they lost no subscribers, they would have had a net gain of 500,000 subscribers, which is 2 million less what they were projected. And they're having problems in the US because in the US market, they're losing subscribers. Why is this happening? I want to propose a couple of factors, and then I want to see what you think about it. Factor number one, the pandemic we're in the waning days of it. It's on its way out. They got a big surge in subscribers during the pandemic when people were stuck at home and there wasn't a lot of new content and everybody signed up for Netflix and everybody signed up for Disney Plus and whatever. By the way, we've been talking about how Disney Plus's growth has sputtered and slowed. I haven't heard that they lost subscribers, but their growth has slowed down significantly. I bet that true is most of the other subscription services. And Netflix is no exception. Now that people are getting out of their house again, going out to other entertainment, they're working more, they're going back to their offices, whatnot. I think a lot of people just realize, don't need Netflix anymore. And they pull it out. Another thing that goes into this is that Netflix has continued to raise their prices. And I get it. They're spending and have spent ridiculous amounts of money on their content. So they need to, in order to turn a profit, and just last year they finally started turning a profit. After years of being in the red year after year in the billions and billions and billions of a deficit, they still carry a big debt load, but that's fine. They're still turning profit. But part of that is raising prices. And just a little bit earlier this year, they raised prices again. I still contend, and I'm no Netflix apologist, but even like $19 a month, when you look at the sheer amount of content you get on Netflix, I still propose to you that for the cost of one drink at a club, the amount of content you get for Netflix, $20, I propose, is still a reasonable value, but it is at the absolute peak of what everybody else is charging. And it's never good to hear that prices are going up. And so I'm sure that probably had a little bit of contribution to the effect as well. I also think this, and I have nothing to back this up with, this is just my own personal thought, but it's a soapbox I've been on for a long time. I think the perception, remember, Netflix still releases most of their shows all at once. And I think the perception of that is you could watch maybe the same amount of shows on Disney Plus as you do on Netflix, but your own internal head perception is going to be, I watch Disney Plus a lot more than I watch Netflix. I think a part of that is because week after week, we keep turning back into Disney Plus so we can watch Mandalorian, so we can watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so we can watch Moon Knight. Week after week, we keep coming back. Whereas, you know, when Netflix does drop a show you want to watch, a lot of people binge it and they're done and they realize, it's been about 2 months since I've watched my Netflix. And they start to tune out. This is no small reason as to why Netflix recently, although they've always talked about it, but have been putting more of an emphasis on it now, is why they're saying we're going to start cracking down on password sharing.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're losing subscribers. And part of the reason they have a lack of subscribers is because so many people mooch it illegally. So that's part of the reason why they said they're going to crack down on this. But Rob, let me throw this to you here and ask you this. You and I, for a number of years now, have been talking about the fact that the streaming world, in particular Netflix, they are on a cycle right now of hyper spending that is not sustainable.
Absolutely.
And it feels like, with word of Disney's growth slowing, other places' growth slowing, Netflix now taking a loss, that we're starting to see that now come to fruition, something that some market analysts have been forecasting for quite a while. Are we seeing in the Netflix situation here just a quick flash blip, or is this a sign of a deeper, more systemic problem facing the streamers right now?
Oh, I think it's absolutely the start of a deeper, more systemic problem. First of all, there's only a finite number of households in the world that are going to subscribe to TV. And let's call it, I don't know, in America, for instance, maybe 140 million households. That's it. Because, you know, you've got 3 and 4, you got families living. That's how many people there are. So to expect growth all the time, you run out of, there's nowhere else to grow, you know, and that's why they want to crack down on the subscription idea, because you can get into that. So it's not like there's unlimited resources of subscribers. And the reason that subscriptions are so important is, for the first time, Hollywood or anybody, because Netflix has become its own studio, they know before you'd have to put a movie out and wonder, would it do well at the box office? Well, now all the streamers, Disney Plus, HBO Max, Peacock, they know how much money they're getting every month. They know from their subscription base, this is exactly how much money we have. That's really great for studios because they've never had that before. That's why streaming is so valuable. But ultimately, we're also in inflation is more than it's ever been in 40 years. And $20 might be a night at a club for us, but for a lot of families that are getting hammered with gas prices and food prices, entertainment goes, man. You know, you got to have those first priorities. And I think that between the amount of money the streamers have been spending, they just have a problem. You know, there's going to be a correction. And this is not just going to be for Netflix. It's for everyone. You know, we have an industry friend that I reached out to, and he's been very cogent about his analysis.
And by the way, when we say it's an industry friend, it's not some random person. This is somebody well-placed within the Hollywood system.
Yes,
Let's just say that.
Me.
And they have been an oracle of Delphi to me. And I asked this person about this. And this was their answer. And this person is incredibly successful. I wish I was him. Netflix is going to be in a downward spiral now that Wall Street no longer considers it a growth stock. Netflix will continue to cut costs and produce less tail content, which will in turn cause their subscribers to gravitate toward their competitors. All this is happening while they continue to raise prices to show constant revenue growth, which will also drive more price-sensitive subscribers away. Consumers will be expected to pay more for less new content. Doesn't this sound like what's happening right now with cable package prices? Plus, Netflix will try other means of extracting more revenue from their dwindling subscriber base by things like IP or device limiting per password, advertising supported subscriptions, video game microtransactions, which I thought was interesting because they've just announced a game component, and many other things the traditional media companies like Disney have been doing for years. And I think that's really an interesting analysis because this growth with Wall Street, they want to see growth all the time. Every fiscal quarter, more money. And we have to start realizing, especially streamers, that at some point, there's a finite amount of people that are subscribed to your platform, so slow and steady wins the day. But that's not what Wall Street wants. So how do you reconcile that, John?
And this goes back to another problem that we discussed before, in that I think they're recognizing the person who wrote in the question asked about retention, right? One of Netflix's big problems, we talked about this not long ago, and what we said was ultimately going to be one of the big problems of streaming, is the fact that streamers don't care if you watch their content. They care if you sign up. And this is why, like a lot of people are always asking, wait a minute, why did X super popular show on Netflix get canceled after 2 seasons? Why did X super popular show on Netflix get canceled after 3 seasons? Because after 2 or 3 seasons, no one new is subscribing to the network just to watch that show. So they don't care that you love it, and they don't care if a bunch of people are watching it. It's not getting new subscribers, kill it, create something new that might attract new subscribers. And so they're starting to recognize they're going to have a retention problem as well moving forward. So everything that you said combined with a lot of things in these reports, it's kind of crazy. Aaron, when you look at Netflix and you're seeing now it's struggling for the first time in a while in numbers, although we are seeing growth kind of slow down. By the way, except for the free tier level of Peacock, which is getting more user than before. What's it called? Pluto has been growing because it's a free tiered thing. So maybe that's one of the reasons why Netflix is kind of reaching into maybe the possibility of some cheaper level thing that's ad supported, even though everybody says they hate ads, but the ones that are doing ad supported stuff, they seem to be having a little bit of growth. I don't know. Guys, we want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Mint Mobile. You know, the one with the delightful ads with good Canadian kid Ryan Reynolds. So look, after years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if we've learned anything, it's that there's always a catch. So when I first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless starting at just $15 a month, I thought, what's the catch? But after talking to them and using their service, it all made sense. There isn't a catch. And guys, that's no joke because for years I've been using one of the major providers and it was fine. But I switched over to Mint Mobile a little while ago. The service has been fantastic. And the big difference is I'm now paying about 1/3 of what I was paying before. And the best part for anybody who just hates their phone bills is that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. All of their plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all your existing contacts. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea. Aaron, you see this? What do you attribute this kind of stuttering and loss to?
Well, first of all, the thing that I find absolutely the most shocking about this whole thing and a bull-faced lie is the fact that both you and Rob are saying that you're actually going out to clubs. And I'm like, I'm sorry, y'all are old as shit. So y'all ain't going to no clubs, first of all. So I'm just gonna, but that aside.
Come on, man. I'm a party boy.
Oh, I know you're a party boy, Rob. I'm just saying you're not part
I'll
of the
show you
club.
next week in Vegas, baby.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
We'll go to some clubs.
I can't wait. No,
VIP bottle service. Daddy'll take you out
We're all
right.
just going to find out
What's
I'm the
up?
Nona of the group. I go to bed at 9.
So back to Netflix. Yes, I agree completely with what both of you were saying. Obviously, you know, with inflation and gas prices, and I mean, there are parts of LA where gas is literally $7 a gallon, which
Yep.
is insane to me. I mean, so many people, especially millennials who are at an age where they should have already, or at least be in the process of buying their first home, are like they're having to move back in with their parents. They're in their 30s and they're like, how am I supposed to afford to buy a house right now? So
I want to point out that's why I go to clubs, because there's no millennials at the clubs. It's all the young Bettys, and I'm sitting there like daddy over here buying the drinks. Just kidding.
You want to keep going with this?
No.
Okay. I'm just gonna let you keep digging, Rob. I'm gonna keep like you, David. But so that's a big part of it. Obviously, is this recession. But another thing, and yes, absolutely, overspending by Netflix, like a drunken. I was gonna say a drunken sailor, but clearly like a drunken Rob at a club with a bunch of Gen Zers. Kidding. We're gonna just keep doing that.
Sort of.
But also another thing, getting back to my actual point, is when we look at companies like Disney. We look at Apple, we look at Amazon, all of their streaming platforms, they are not the primary source of revenue. In the case of Netflix, the sole point of revenue. Disney has Disney, like the actual mothership company.
Yeah.
Amazon, one of the most successful companies on the planet. Apple, same thing. These companies are looking at these little streaming platforms like their little entertainment wing. They are not looking to them as sources of revenue to keep themselves afloat. So if they lose here and there, they're kind of like, okay, well, that's not how our company stays alive. Additionally, these companies have been around for so long that they understand how a successful business model works. Whereas Netflix, again, has been just hemorrhaging money since day one. And I also look at the Netflix catalog kind of like I look at a Cheesecake Factory menu. There's just too much. It's too confusing. I get overwhelmed. There is something that is actually there's been research done that the fewer options you give people, the more likely they are to make a decision, which is why a place like In-N-Out is so successful, even though they have like 3 things on their menu. You give people a limited amount of options to choose. Like Disney, they go, this is what you're going to watch this month. They have other options to choose from, but they really only push one thing. And John, you've talked a lot on this show about how frustrated you are about the fact that Netflix never advertises.
They don't promote their own content.
They don't promote
Very
their own
rarely,
content. Very rarely. I mean, really, the only thing that I ever see them promote is Stranger Things. And I'm like, we know about that. Let us know about some of your other things. Like Disney lets you know, hey guys, look here, bright, shiny thing. This is what you're going to watch for the next couple of weeks. And then that goes away. Hey guys, let's focus again. This is what we're going to watch this week. They're very targeted in their advertising, that they let you know exactly why you want them. Whereas Netflix is like, bleh. Okay, we just vomited out a bunch of stuff. Dig through there and find something you might like. Bye.
But that goes back again to the fact that their philosophy is they don't care what people like to continue to watch. They just want to throw out tons of different crap that somebody might find interesting and sign up for the service for. And now that philosophy, which has worked for them for a bunch of years, is starting to not.
Yeah, and Aaron, that was very astute, the comment you made, because Amazon, for instance, you get their streaming service because you sign up for Prime. And Prime is what you use for shipping. And like I've been a Prime member since before they streamed. Yeah. That's what they want you to do is show up. It's just a perk of being a Prime member.
Well, another good thing that Aaron brought up too is when you're making the comparison, you're looking at things like Apple, and people wondered why when I said 5 years from now, what are going to be the big ones? And I said Apple, I said Disney, I said, Apple and Disney, mostly because, and Amazon, because they have other facets to their business that can carry and finance those heavy spending losses in order to get over the hump. And Netflix just doesn't have that. They're in an arms race when all they've got is a bat. Mm-hmm. Whereas, Disney and Amazon and Apple are coming to it with nukes.
And not only that, but John, look at Apple's content. First of all, Ted Sarandos doesn't have an Oscar. Apple does. They won for Coda this year. Mm-hmm. And also their prestige, the stuff they're making is all, I mean, as much as I might not have liked Invasion, it's still A-list from production standpoint. The people they're hiring, the team, relationships they're making in the industry with heavy hitters, people like Tom Hanks or whatever. I mean, they're doing a lot of stuff because when they make programming, they're going A-list.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's us because we can afford to do it.
And they're taking the HBO approach of let's make sure everything we make is the highest quality.
Yeah.
Let's not go the Netflix route of throwing every noodle of spaghetti against the wall and hope something sticks.
But I would say, like you point out, though, Netflix does have a lot of great stuff on their
Yeah.
platform that
Oh,
you would never know
absolutely.
is there. You know, you
Sometimes
look
those
around.
are artisanal noodles, okay?
Sometimes it's
Sometimes you get a power of the dog.
yeah, and by the way, I'm glad you brought that up because it does seem like we're glossing over that. It's not like there are not some absolutely magnificent things on Netflix.
Ozark season 4, baby.
Yeah.
Obviously there is. We got Stranger Things coming here, like all this kind of stuff. Anyway, Chris, you take a look at this whole situation. What stands out to you?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing here is that we're talking about the content of Netflix, and there's this great Forbes article that talks about how they realize that what's going to keep people here is quality content. Great. We need more quality content, less content then. Because I feel like that's what we're all talking about here, is that there's just so much stuff that it all can't be quality. When you go to an Apple TV, when you go to a Disney Plus, there's things of quality there. And sure, things like Prime, right, Amazon, there is a whole bunch of nonsense on there. There are some clunkers on there because it is just kind of a catalog of a ton of old media. But the new things they're putting out there are incredible. So, one, just have less. Do less. Just do more quality. The other thing here is they are starting to advertise more, y'all. I mean, we broke down that trailer they dropped of all of their movies with the weird fourth wall breaking, like, hi there, I'm Ryan Reynolds and I'm in this movie. Hi, I'm like, so they're trying. They're trying. We just need them to try a little harder and do it a little better because there's so many other streaming companies that are just kicking their ass right now.
And I mean, it reminds me about the old joke we brought up here, but South Park did this great bit where the kids are trying to get their own superhero movie made, right? So they call Netflix. And they call Netflix several times through the episode, but the phone center at Netflix answers the phone the same way. Netflix, you're greenlit. I mean, and that's basically it. Like, just put whatever you want and just go with it.
Sometimes they find gold. Sometimes they
Yes,
get
they
a
do.
Squid Game. Sometimes they find something incredible. But, you know, if you're constantly digging for something, you're bound to find a lot of turds, too.
Yep.
All right?
All right, guys. Question is for you. We want to know what you think about this. Why do you think Netflix is struggling? What's the biggest issue for you that you think is the reason for this? Do you see them turning it around? Is this a temporary problem? Is this a long-term problem? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and leave us your thoughts.